What's going on, everybody? Welcome to AWS OnAir Sports. This is our season finale for the sports program this year. We've got a special episode lined up for you guys with the NFL. We're going to be talking about My Cause, My Cleats, awesome program, supports charities around the league. But before we get to that one, to run through some basic stuff for you guys. If this is your first time joining us, this is the AWS OnAir channel. We stream various shows every week to talk about tech, cloud computing, how it's changing the world, from everything from security to sports to generative AI. Obviously, a super cool topic we're going to be getting into today as well. So if you haven't seen a show before on our channel, please make sure you go ahead and follow, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, tell people you don't like, maybe it'll get them on your side. But the point is, check out our different shows throughout the week. We stream our weekly show on Friday. Sports is generally every other Wednesday. We've got a whole slate of other programs, but today we are doing a special Tuesday program of AWS OnAir Sports, again, with the NFL, talking My Cause, My Cleats. And before we get into the guests, one more announcement. Obviously, if you're a big cloud computing person, you'll know that next week is AWS reInvent in Las Vegas. Biggest cloud computing conference in the world every year, always super cool. We'll have a bunch of sports stuff there as well. We've got a forum where you can demo a bunch of the different things we're going to be talking about today, the different sports. It's going to be pretty cool. So check out our stream next week. We're going to be streaming live from the event every single day, Monday through Thursday. Should be pretty fun. And if you're going to be able to join us in Vegas, go ahead and stop by the AWS OnAir booth, meet us in person, maybe get some cool merch, and stop by the AWS Sports Forum. We'll talk with the sports team in a little bit here about where that is and what all we can expect there. But I think without further ado, why don't we go ahead and bring our guests in? You all have heard enough of me rambling. So today we are joined by Christina from the NFL and Ari from the AWS Sports team. What's going on, guys?
Hey.
What's up, Nick? Hey, Ari.
All right.
Hey. Thanks for having us, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I've been looking forward to this for a long time. A lot of our viewers have been as well. Let us know where you guys are from, by the way. We've got the NFL here. I think first and foremost, who are your guys' teams? I'm a big Broncos fan / Ravens fan now. That's been added to my slate. Ari, who are you a fan of?
So I'm based in San Jose, so I'm Niners. Red and gold through and through.
All right. Christina, how about you? I assume you have a favorite team representing the NFL, right?
I, of course, love all 32 teams, but I am from Jacksonville, Florida. So I'll just leave it at that.
Gotcha. So clearly just a fan of all 32 teams. Equally.
Clearly.
I get you. Well, chat, let us know who your favorite team in the comments section is. We'll try to give you guys some shout outs. Let us know where you're watching from too. We got a question here. What did I miss from Natavita? Nothing so far. We just got started. We're about to start the conversation now. So you tuned in at the right time. We got a Texans fan here. Not quite as cool as the Broncos, Ravens, or Niners. But, CJ Stroud, I guess he's all right. So, guys, let's get into the meat of the discussion here. First and foremost, I would love for you guys to explain to the audience what your jobs actually are. Because I feel like a lot of people don't realize the scope of these leagues and how you can stay involved with professional sports in your career. So, Ari, let's start with you. What is the sports marketing team, and what do you do for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So the integrated sports marketing team at AWS, we basically work with a whole host of different teams and leagues. So NFL, F1, PGA Tour, NHL, Ferrari, and a lot of what we do through these partnerships is technology storytelling. Right. Okay. So unlike, when you think about something like NASCAR, right? A lot of times when companies will sponsor, it's like they want the sticker on the car, right? Our approach is a little bit different, right? Where we actually want to work with these different leagues and teams to build cool stuff with technology, right? That could be anything from, in the case of NFL, could be next gen stats, could be the schedule creation, it could be new things with Gen AI, and a whole bunch more. And my team in particular, right? I think it's one of the coolest jobs around. Basically, I get to come up with cool marketing campaigns to tell those stories and make this accessible to the rest of the AWS marketing team and get people excited about sports and tech.
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating talking to you and planning these shows sometimes. So I'll be like, all right, what can we do this week? And you're like, hold on, Nick, I'm at the Ferrari factory. So, kind of kills my soul a little bit, but obviously a dream job. So
hold my espresso, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and it looks like we got some extra guests behind you too there.
Yeah, a little four-legged friend here.
Oh, perfect. All right, Christina, what do you do for the NFL?
Yeah, so I'm a senior manager of community relations. So I manage a lot of the league's giving back initiatives and the national campaign. So Crucial Catch, the league's cancer platform, My Cause, My Cleats, which is a player-led initiative, Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year, which also launches soon, and then NFL Green, our sustainability platform. So I get to work with all 32 teams' community relations departments every week to see what they're doing in the communities and also making sure that they're equipped and have everything that they need. And then, of course, I love working with the fans too and making sure that they feel a part of the overall giving back of the NFL. It sounds kind of corny, but we love it. Football truly is family. So it's just a great way to bring people together and do good in this world.
Yeah, I'd say football is pretty universally appealing too. Looks like we've got some people tuning in from Nepal. We've got some people from Brazil. I got somebody from Kenya watching. We got a whole worldwide audience here, so that's cool to see.
Hey, we were in Brazil recently for a game.
Yeah, first ever game, right?
Yep.
Pretty big deal. I know this is a busy week for you too, right? You mentioned a lot of the big NFL initiatives I'm sure fans are familiar with Walter Payton and My Cause, My Cleats, and all Crucial Catch. Like this is a big week with you for all of this, right?
I know it's like my busiest time of year, but I love it because when you love what you do, it doesn't really feel like work, which again, sounds corny, but I promise you I mean it.
All right. Well, perfect, guys. So let's keep going here. I'm always curious before we dive into My Cause, My Cleat specifically, right? How my guests have gotten to the positions that they're in with their careers. Because again, I feel like a lot of our viewers are maybe young professionals, kids in college. They might not actually know like all the different career paths open to them. So, let's start with Ari. How did you get to your role within AWS and leading all these different storytelling initiatives with our sports partnerships?
Yeah, totally. So it's actually a pretty non-traditional path, right? Like I don't have a background in sports marketing or anything like that. I love sports. But I've always been super curious about how things work and communicating and telling stories about that. It even goes back to growing up as a kid, this is before email, right? In the early 80s. So my dad would come home from work. He was a technology reporter for the San Jose Mercury News.
Yeah.
And we used to sit around the table and talk about our days. And, he just had such a cool way of articulating, how things are working, right? How computers work, how, anything works really. And to be able to take those kinds of storytelling principles, I don't know, I fell in love with stories, right? I love to read. I love movies, TV. And then, as I grew up, went to college, I got a degree in marketing. And for about 20 years, I actually did technology, public relations, and communications. And this spanned a whole bunch of different things, like IBM research. I did a lot of material science, polymers, physics, which is what it was called before it's called quantum now. Did the Watson Jeopardy campaign. Then I was at Facebook, back when it was called Facebook, for about 7 years doing all the AI comms and marketing. And honestly, I will wrap this up, but I saw this position on LinkedIn and I hit apply. And it's one of these serendipitous things where, you never know if you're going to hear from anybody when you hit that apply button, but it worked. Within a few weeks. I had this job that was responsible for telling technology stories, which was my whole background, but applied for sports partnerships.
Awesome. Yeah. Your dog's a big fan of the path too.
Right. He's like, enough, Dad, enough.
No, I love these stories. And Christina, you've got a really kind of unique one too. So Ari obviously came a lot more from the tech side of things, the storytelling side. Christina, in prepping for the show today, you told me a little bit of your story of how you got to the NFL and being involved with community outreach programs there. Why don't you
Yeah.
tell the audience that? Because I think it's a super cool story.
Yeah, my journey is crazy. It's definitely nonlinear. There's been a lot of pivots and twists and turns, but I'm definitely someone who loves an adventure. So my journey started out when I was 20. I went to the University of North Florida. I graduated again from Jacksonville, Florida, and I studied communications and PR. And I ended up graduating during the recession. So there weren't a whole lot of jobs available at the time. So I picked up a job as an associate producer at the local news station at 2 different stations in Jacksonville. And I quickly realized that while a lot of people might be passionate about that, I was working the morning show. So I had to be there at like 2 a.m. and leave at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm still not a morning person, really. So that really didn't work out for me.
Yeah.
And so I ended up just picking up this side job coaching high school volleyball because I played volleyball in college. And I was so fulfilled. I could see the impact that I was having on the girls that I coached on the court. And mind you, I had an awful high school experience. I was not a fan of high school. So I was like, I'm never going to step foot on a high school campus again. But for some reason, I started thinking if I could have this much of an impact on the girls on the court, how much more so could I have an impact on students' lives if I were in the classroom? And so I became a high school teacher, something that I never thought that I would do. And Rashad Jennings, who was playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars at the time, he saw what I was teaching, which was intensive reading for students who struggled with reading. And then I was also teaching TV production. And he was like, hey, I'm in the league. I'm starting a foundation focused on literacy. I would love for you, who actually knows the benchmarks and how to teach these students, to come over and be director of programs. So I did that and then ended up being his executive director and doing all of his off-field stuff, which was so fun. So we had a New York Times best-selling book. He was on Dancing with the Stars, if anybody ever watches, and he won the Mirror Ball. So it was just a really cool season of my life. And I remember like going to the spot and being like, you know what, I'm going to be like 80 years old, still coaching volleyball in the classroom. Like I'm going to be one of those. And and I ended up going to work for him instead. And so I really enjoyed my time with him. And then this job for the NFL opened up in 2017. And my grandfather, unfortunately, had just been diagnosed with a brain tumor. And so I went through a ton of interviews with the NFL. And to what Ari was saying earlier, I just felt like it was meant to be because I had like 10 interviews. There were over 1,000 applicants. And when the door opened for me to walk through it, I was like, there's no way I could shut the door on the NFL. Let me go try it out and see if I like it. So I've been with the league for about 7 seasons now. And I genuinely couldn't imagine myself anywhere else. And the fun just continues. I mean, I met you guys through it. So it's really fun to be here.
Yeah, so obviously the wins and the losses with Ari over there.
Yeah.
You can take the positive and the negative. I love hearing those stories though, especially for our younger viewers. I feel like you don't know what is out there in the professional sports landscape. And you got some comments. W. Christina.
Okay.
From
No Willis.
So like it's cool to hear that path though, right? It's not always A to B. You went from broadcasting to teaching to working on a foundation to getting what a lot of people would have as their dream job, right? Organized all these things for the NFL. Ari, you kind of went from that storytelling from the tech side to a different kind of dream job where you get to work with all these different leagues in telling their stories. So we always love to start the show off like that to kind of highlight these career paths for people before we get into the meat of the discussion. And y'all both had such unique ones. I was really excited to dive into that. But let's change focus here. Let's talk about My Cause, My Cleats and really the partnership between the AWS and the NFL. We're getting some questions from LinkedIn here. People joining late, what this is about. Guys, we're talking to the NFL today about how the NFL and AWS are partnering up across a bunch of different initiatives. You've probably seen StatThat and all that fun stuff, but also specifically My Cause, My Cleats today. And we're getting lots of people. India. I've saw some viewers from Sri Lanka. That's a new one for me seeing joining us here. Lots of people from Brazil. So worldwide audience, should be a fun show. Guys, Ari, let's dive into this then. You've been around for a while running these partnerships. I think you told me the NFL is the longest active one at this point, right? So we've been partners for a number of years. How did this all get started and kind of what things do we partner on overall? Like what are all the different projects?
Yeah, so it's wide ranging, right? So our partnership started in 2017 with the NFL. And some of the first ways that like fans would start to see how AWS was, impacting the league and the sport was through next gen stats, right? And if you think about even just next gen stats from like then to where we're at now, right? Like 2017, like some of the things that we could track, it was just through like an RFID sensor, like in a player's pads, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about things like top speed, how fast was someone running, it's kind of evolved to instead of just that type of, I guess, analysis, right? You're able to actually take these really complex machine learning models and build like entirely new kind of predictive models, right? Like expected yards, rushing yards over expected, right? Average separation for routes.
Yeah.
That's just an example of how, a partnership that has been going on this long evolves with the pace of technology, right? We couldn't have started at machine learning back in 2017 because that wasn't really what it is now, right? And we've seen that kind of evolution with different projects, everything from player health and safety, how the NFL works with AWS to basically crunch through a quadrillion different schedule options to find the one that gets put into play each season, to even more now like generative AI applications. The NFL currently is using a tool called Playbook Pro, right? It is basically an open prompt search capability for the NFL media's content creators to find and distribute highlights across its channels like lickety split, right? Instead of having to scroll through an entire archive of these massive amounts of footage that's produced like every second on game day, it just automatically drives like efficiency for them. They're able to find the clips and find them and put them on the right channels. And then, again, with generative AI, that kind of technology didn't exist in 2017, didn't even exist like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
But now applying it to internal tools that help with efficiency to creative applications like My Cause, My Cleats.
Yeah, and you actually kind of inadvertently answered our first big question from the audience here, which is how is AWS being used and how is AI impacting or improving the way it's being used? And I think to quickly summarize, we've been doing StatThat for a number of years. We've helped with the schedule building. That was a really cool episode we did. We can see if we can drop those links in the chat, where we went from generating 2 schedules over the course of like 6 months to 2 schedules a day. Great use case with Mike North from the NFL. We did a whole episode on next-gen stats and how that's being powered. And today is actually a great use case for that AI angle into how that's changing the game. So let's dive into that. Christina, we're here today. Now, have all these awesome partnerships, things we've worked on together. Today, we're talking about My Cause, My Cleats, one of my favorite initiatives the NFL does. What exactly is My Cause, My Cleats? Like, can you give us a brief overview into what that is, how it came about?
Of course. So the NFL has multiple community initiatives that I talked about earlier. Clubs give back in their own way. The league gives back. The players are giving back. And My Cause, My Cleats is the one player-led initiative where players can design their cleats to support the causes that they care about most and draw awareness to them. So, of course, our teams, our clubs, us at the league are asking players to support different causes that we support and champion at the league level again and at the club level. But this is a really great opportunity for players to have kind of that helmets off approach to say, hey, like I have my own foundation or I have my own charity or my own cause, and let me design my cleats in a way that I'm passionate about to tell this story of, of how they're connected to that personal cause and how they support it. And so I don't have any favorites, of course, just like I don't have any favorite team because I love all 32. But My Cause, My Cleats is so fun to me because yesterday we launched it actually, and we have unboxing week this week. So fans can see all the players see their cleats for the first time after they go to the designers. And of course, we're going to talk a little bit about how we used and tapped into AWS's technology and generative AI for some of our players this year. But I'm just excited for everybody to see unboxing week this week because you really get to see the causes that the players care about the most. And then you get to know the player even more. There's some people that have these causes, or these ties to these causes that you would never know unless they had the platform and the ability to be able to share them. So I'm excited for it to start. And then I also was going to say, Ari, a little bit off topic, but I wanted to go back to it, is I'm super intrigued because I am not really a tech girly yet. I'm not a tech girly, but yesterday I was on our NFL TikTok channel and I saw that someone out in LA put together like a highlight reel for Monday Night Football. And I literally thought to myself, I know AWS was in on this and they could have only found those clips with that product that you guys gave us. So I just, I learned about that recently. Obviously, I'm not in tech at the NFL, but just hearing about all the stuff that you guys do has really helped us as a league. And I'm even more selfishly excited because I run my Cleats and get to see what we're going to develop there.
Yeah, super cool stuff. Lots of cool use cases. Love, like you said, the TikTok video stuff. We discussed that with some previous leagues on the show too. I think it was the Bundesliga episode. Always cool to see what Ari's team is pumping out.
Sure.
And I want to dive into that a little bit too with the background of My Cleats, because maybe for some NFL or newer NFL fans, right, this came about because there are generally regulations on like what you can wear on the field. You have to wear certain types of cleats. And the NFL wanted to give players the opportunity to kind of support their different charities and stuff, which is why My Cleats is such a big deal to those players, right?
For sure. Yeah. So we have our obviously league-wide uniform policy. But around the time that My Cleats launched in 2016, a few years earlier, there were larger conversations going on with multiple players saying, like, we love all of these initiatives that we're doing at our teams. And again, going back to what I said, but how can we have an initiative where we can really have a voice in the causes that we care about? And so also around that time, one of the players, Brandon Marshall with the Bears, was really passionate and is passionate about mental health. And so he was wearing some cleats that were green for that. And so it just expanded a broader conversation. And, we had multiple players just kind of coming to visit the league office and having these conversations of like, what would a platform look like where we could really share our voice and essentially our hearts in some way. And so for a couple of years, the NFL thought about it. And so My Cleats was born. And again, I think it's a fan favorite for all of the fans. When I look at the research every year, the fans just love to get to know more about the players and the causes that they care about. And our league is nothing without the players, and they're incredible. So again, I'm super excited about it. And just knowing the history behind, I say that this is a player-driven initiative because this all started with the voices of the players saying that we want the NFL to be able to have more of a player-driven initiative. And so here we are years later and we continue to grow. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah. And before we get into how AWS has partnered with you guys on and using Gen AI to kind of revolutionize, introduce new ways to get this done, what has the process been previously? Like maybe how many players did it at first when it first started, like almost a decade ago?
Yeah.
And what's been the process of designing the cleats? Like, how did all of this work?
Yeah, so we've always had really heavy player participation. So I would say it's always been around 1,000 players that sign up for this. And the process has pretty much been the same until this year with AWS. But essentially, after the trade deadline and during the season, we send out a survey to all the players and the agents, and we ask them if they want to participate. And we also send a note to the coaches and the staff for each team. So while we've had like 1,000 players every year that have signed up, we've also recently increasingly seen an interest from coaches and staff on the sideline. So if you guys look at games in week 13 and 14 this weekend in week 14, you'll see that a lot of the coaches and staff are also on the sideline wearing tennis shoes that support the causes that they care about. So we send out the survey, they sign up. It's part of my job, for those of you who are learning about what it's like to work in community relations in the sports industry, is I get to go through all 1,400 people that are participating and look through those charities to see their why behind them as well. So the players can say, like, I'm supporting this nonprofit organization and this is my story and this is why. So that helps us on our side at the NFL from a social perspective, from a PR perspective, to really put a voice and more muscle behind that and say, wow, look at this incredible story. We had no idea that this player has a tie to it. Let's share this out and let's see if we can get some more publicity for these players. and their hearts at the end of the day. So the process has always stayed the same, but this year with AWS, we were able to provide some players with the opportunity to use generative AI and be more hands-on in that design process with their designers.
Yeah, I will say that the NFL on the NFL's My Cause My Cleats page, there's also this really cool infographic that I hadn't seen in years past that kind of breaks down the different categories of causes that the players support. And that, I don't know, I thought that was really nice.
Thank you.
So it gives fans more of an insight into how they can get involved. It gives a lot. What I love about it is it gives a lot of these charities and nonprofits more of like a platform, because they're all doing great work and a lot of people just don't know about them, right?
For sure.
Like, we're able to see stuff from across the country that we might not have known existed, but it's a cause that we would care about or be passionate about. So love the platform that this gives those nonprofits.
Well, and there's also, Ari, to that point, the infographic, I think this year, off the top of my head, because I worked on the infographic, is where a lot of the players chose youth organizations. And then right after that is health, disease awareness, and then cancer. And so obviously, it runs the gamut. There's a ton of causes, but youth really led the way this year. So youth health and wellness, youth programming, those types of things. Another cool thing that I love about this year is there's a player for the Chiefs who chose an organization to support animals and like fostering and adopting animals. So this year we're bringing that organization into the league office and we're making toys for the cats and dogs. And then we're going to go visit the New York location to play with the dogs and do their holiday photos. So Ari, your dogs might want to join us for that party, but
we're there. We're there.
Yeah. But again, we wouldn't have known about this organization until a player brought it to our attention. So I just think that's a great look and example into how much support these charities are now getting because the players are speaking up for them.
Man, we've got some people chiming in the chat too, showing their support for the charities. We've even got a Giants and Jets fan, and that might be the rarest public thing to have nowadays. Wow. So shout out to Eugene Harold Johnson. Way to stay strong, man. But let's get into kind of how that process has changed. So real quick, we've got some cool videos of players designing cleats this year. But before we show those, Christina, can you give us just a brief overview? Like, how long did the timeline take? So say I'm a player, I want to, support my nonprofit. What was the process and like, how long did it take to get from my design to like get the cleats done and made? Is it like robots making them? Is this, individual artists? Like, how does this happen? How long does it take?
Yeah, so typically it really varies per player, to be honest, because as we all know, the player's first job and their first passion is to hone into their craft on the field. So players can get as involved or as not and hands off every single year, depending on their schedule. So historically, a lot of the players do like to get involved and they have their preferred cleat designers and they go to them and they basically just share their heart. And a lot of the times the players trust the designer to design based off of what they told them. And then they're just completely surprised. But Ari, I don't know with AWS and this year, did that process look any different or was it kind of the same with using AI? I'm sure it kind of helped the artists have more of a vision of what they were going to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So using our Gen AI tech, we basically put the technology in the player's hands to have more of a direct, direct voice in how their cleat would look, right? Which is, someone who isn't super artistic, right? Like if I wanted to draw a unicorn eating pizza on Mars, I'd have no idea how to bring that to life, right? Like a lot of stick figures wouldn't look that nice. Using like an open text prompt, right? I can basically write that into the tool. Then using Stability AI, like text to image tech in Bedrock, basically turns that into, pictures, right? Options that could show up on a cleat. It's super simple. It's easy. There's lots of style choices. And we found that the players, they're both a couple different ways, right? Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills, he worked with some kids from Oshai's Children's Hospital in Buffalo to actually design the cleats with them, which was like a new experience that wouldn't have been possible necessarily, without this tech. Max Crosby, he's also doing animal rescue, Stand Up for Pits. And we considered, should we bring the dogs to the practice field to have them designed it together? That was probably logistically a smart move not to do that. And then DK, he actually designed 2 cleats, one for each foot, around justice reform and inclusivity. And we brought those groups in, and they designed the cleats with DK. But the last point I'll make on this, and then I'll cede the floor here. But there's still the artist and designer still plays such a critical role in all this, right? Because we're producing a digital asset. Here's what the cleat would look like based on all the tech and image processing, right? The artists and the designers, they're still hand painting the cleats that the players are going to wear on the field over the next couple of weeks, which is a really cool way to kind of give the players the creative opportunities here, and still leveraging artists and their amazing skills to kind of take the ones and zeros, if you will, and actually turn that into an artistic creation.
Yeah, and that is a perfect setup. We've actually got a video of Max Crosby making his cleats. And, before we dive into how all the tech works, I think it'd be good to just show the audience how that process looked. So why don't we cue up the Max Crosby video here and let them look at that.
I'm working with AWS using Gen AI to design my cleat. For my cause, my cleats, Stand Up for Pits Foundations. I have 3 pit bulls myself, so the Stand Up for Pits Foundation means a lot to me. Holds a special place in my heart. I'm a huge pit bull person. I feel like the underdogs of the dog world, they get a bad rap, but they're truly incredible dogs. Using Gen AI was incredible. I really didn't know what to expect. Some pit bull action on there like that. I just feel like I have an underdog past, and I feel like that's why, me and pit bulls are on the same wavelength. I wear wild colors, I have wild tattoos, because that's just kind of who I am. I like to express myself in that way. The logo there, and then Stand Up for Pits in the back. I think it was really cool being hands-on with the design process, so I kind of know how it's going to look and how I can put it together, once game day gets here. Having the mixture of the pit bulls mixed with the purple bottoms and laces, the design turned out even better than expected. I feel like it just made a lot of sense. I love it. I'm super excited. My dogs, having them on my feet, gonna make me run a little faster and eat a little more, so I'm excited.
Pretty cool stuff. I think it's really awesome to be able to see the tooling. I'd want to call out a few things too. You guys said the players are able to have more of a direct voice, right, in designing the cleats, which is super cool. But the artists themselves, these are mostly still handmade, which I did not know, and is kind of crazy. I thought it was just the shoe manufacturers just did a custom run or something. So that's super cool. So it really just kind of helps the athletes themselves have more of a say in what their cleats look like. And I think we had a cool question here. Speaking of designs, we've got Robert Table sounding off on the Twitch chat here. What's the most interesting design you've seen emerge from this program, Christina, whether that be this year or years past?
Wow, that is I'm not even joking. That's a really hard but great question. There was a player that supported autism. I can't recall off the top of my head, but a few years ago. And he just had a bunch of puzzle pieces, different colored puzzle pieces with the names of the people that he were supporting, like the children that had autism. And I just thought that was really personable. And I just loved how all the names of those kids that he supported were on there. And they were multicolor. So it was just a really cool design.
Yeah, love seeing that. It looks like the audience, the chat, really likes seeing it too on LinkedIn. Guys, we are live on LinkedIn, Twitch, and YouTube. So make sure, if you see me looking over here, I am looking at y'all's comments. So don't think you can slip something by me.
I saw Sophie's comment. Sophie said, "I love it," and I'm right there with her. I loved those cleats that Max designed. He's just so cool in general. So
I'm a dog guy too. I love the cause in general, right? Ari is a dog lover. Apparently.
They finally settled down, sleeping there and there.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. One of them guys is a husky behind Ari, and I've really been hoping for some husky talk, but I don't think we're gonna get it. But all right, getting back on track here. So we decided to partner with the NFL on My Cause, My Cleats. We had done stuff like the schedule before, like next gen stats before. What made this the project we wanted to dive into next with the league?
Yeah, I think there were a couple things, right? So one, right, there's just like this evolution of our projects and how technology just evolves. When we signed our renewal with the NFL, our partnership renewal for another 5 years earlier this year, part of that was to explore new technologies like generative AI. So I mentioned the Playbook Pro. That's really helpful for content creators within the NFL media department to, find and distribute clips across, their channels. That's one of a handful of different generative AI projects we have with the league. But some of them, might not be like product or, official, like, products that can be deployed. Sometimes it's just like, okay, what is this technology really good at, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, one of the cool things about generative AI is that it does open up new artistic, creative capabilities for people, right? It could be for text, right? That's what a lot of people are kind of comfortable with, right? If you use Anthropic Claude, right, for example, like that's, it helps a lot of people with writing assistance. To me, one of the cool things that we're still, at the cusp of exploring, just like as an industry, is how you take, those same creative capabilities and apply it to images, to videos. So the idea here was that, like, hey, the NFL, right? It's they've got this amazing program with My Cause, My Cleats. Is there an opportunity for us to kind of merge this amazing initiative with new creative capabilities with our generative AI technology? And it was, 8 months in the making, to get here, but it was 100% worth it.
Yeah, and I want to make sure we shout out some of those product teams. So like when Christina and you already got together and we're kind of figuring out what this tool was, maybe some of the requirements, like I assume we want it to be hands-on. We didn't want it to be something that you needed a degree in cloud computing for, right? It should be pretty intuitive. How did we go about making that tool? Because I want to make sure we give a shout out to the teams that kind of helped this become a reality too. What all was involved?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we're thinking about putting, this technology in the hands of players and fans, which we'll get to later, we had to think about, like, what is the use case here, right? How are people using technology today, specifically for like prompts and generative AI? So we're like, hey, let's not overcomplicate this. Let's show people that you don't have to be an engineer or a rocket scientist to use this technology. So the most recent Anthropic Claude text models. So it's just like an open text. So you can type in literally whatever it is that you want. And if you go to our landing page, you can actually see the prompts that the players use to design their cleats that produce those designs. Then once the prompt is in, right, then we use the Stability AI text to image models.
Okay.
To kind of convert words into pictures. And we process that with a bunch of EC2 compute on the back end, right? Because no one wants to wait around for 3 minutes for their cleat image to show up, right?
Heck no. I don't even want to wait 30 seconds to warm up my hot chocolate at night. Like, let's
right?
get it done.
We'll get into that one later, Nick. But yeah, right. So like when you think about how people want to use technology, right? They want it to be fun, they want it to be easy, and they want it to be fast. And I think we took all of that and we delivered this experience through a really cool platform that the NFL runs. Right. I think it's kind of a unique opportunity, and this is the first time we've ever done it. Right.
Yeah.
That's also pretty neat because now we see that, it worked. We think it worked pretty well. It's a fun experience, and we'll see where we go in future years too.
Yeah. And what I think the biggest thing I want to call out there that I think is so cool is the fact that it was so easy to use, right? And I think we have a clip with Josh Allen too, where he worked with Children's Hospital to design his cleats, and I think really drive that point home. So I want to play that real quick and circle back to that point specifically. So let's see Josh.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Josh Allen with the Buffalo Bills. I'm here today at Oshai Children's Hospital in Western New York to design cleats with Blake and Bella, my two friends, using AWS generative AI. What are you guys looking for?
Josh Allen, who are you?
I'm Josh. Yeah, hi. My Cause, My Cleats allows players to wear something different and support causes that we really care about. The Patricia Allen Fund directly helps the families that are going through these tough times. Blake, how you doing?
He knows my name.
Hey! Got to design some cleats today with My Cause, My Cleats using Gen AI and AWS. Give me just whatever pop in your head right now.
Under the sea. Super Bowl.
All right, give me some colors.
Yellow.
With AWS and the generative AI, typing in certain things and it just kind of popping up on the screen.
Oh, wow.
It helped bring imagination to life. It made our process extremely fun, but quick and easy, and it was awesome. All right, now we got some stickers to add. Double high fives. Did you draw this heart right here?
Yeah. Don't you love it?
I love it. Look at that.
Totally goalpost.
Goalpost would look nice on this yellow, huh? Do you guys like it?
Yeah.
Love it?
Whoa, yeah.
Have just arrived. Blake and Bella are in the other room. Surprise them. I haven't seen them yet, I promise.
Wow, that's embarrassing. But I really
I was like, it might be me, but I'm not a tech person. So
I've made it 2 years of doing this show.
It was in the
without
show. It's fine.
doing that.
We practiced
Gosh
that.
dang it. All right. Well, I'm going to get roasted for that backstage later. But love that clip. I think the coolest thing about it is, it showed the artist actually making it, which was kind of my eureka moment of like, this isn't just something like it's handmade. And also I thought it was so cool that we were able to upload, images that those kids drew for Josh, and like they were able to be a part of the design process. Like the kids were able to basically design his cleats for him, which was super cool. And it looks like the audience really likes it too. So
I'm like crying, just so y'all know. I've seen that clip before and I'm wearing glasses, so you can't really see my eyes. But I just get so fired up, like genuinely, I started tearing up. I've seen the clip probably 6 times already. And it's just crazy, like to think of the difference that these players are making. And then the fact that those kids got to create in the hospital, the design with the player, like it just, I just love it. It doesn't get old to me. And it's just amazing to see the impact that the players have. And anyway, I'm going to get off my soapbox, but that was amazing.
No, it's true. Like that's the coolest part about some of these use cases with Gen AI, like putting aside the fact that Ari and I work for AWS, just it's cool to like, the tooling is being used to give people more of a say and to allow for things like that probably haven't been able to be done before. Like, the kids were able to design his cleats. Like that's such a cool thing for me. And the fact that they were able to have a hand in that, they obviously didn't need a computer degree. Like I loved that. So I think we've built enough suspense though here, guys. We've kind of hinted at what the tool looks like, especially with Josh's video. Ari, what does the final product look like? What happened? And also, there's a website where fans can go to actually create their own cleats, just like the players did, right? So, like, what's going on with that?
Absolutely. So, as Christina mentioned, the players they're starting their unboxing either last week or this week, and then we'll start seeing a whole host of different kind of cleats on the field over the next couple of weeks, which is super cool, right? There's going to be such an amazing, like diverse representative of causes and artistic representations, right? Of things that matter to these players and their communities. To kind of bring this home a little bit, we thought it would also be really cool, not just to, have these NFL superstars design their cleats, but to also put this technology in the hand of literally anyone who wants it. So if you go to cleatcreator.com, it is the exact same interface that the players use to design their cleats. And it gives fans all over the world the opportunity to check out this new technology, design their own cleats, And if they share on social with specific hashtags, they can be entered for a chance to win the game-worn cleats that DK Metcalf, Josh Allen, and Max Crosby are going to be wearing on the field over the next week, which is super cool.
Yeah. And I think nothing better, the AWS OnAir way than to do a demo of this website. I thought it would be fun, everybody. We're going to need some participation from Christina and Ari, but also more specifically from the chat. Guys, why don't we go ahead and design our own cleats using the Cleat Creator website? That way we can show our fans watching what this thing looks like and submit maybe a pair for the AWS OnAir team. And have a collective design process here. What do we think?
Let's
Can
do it.
Ari's dogs help too?
Yes,
Yeah.
Ari's dog. We're obviously dogs are going to be a part of these cleats. Clearly,
I'm gonna start howling.
I keep waiting. I'm shocked that we haven't had howling yet. But chat, what do we think? Give us your favorite team, your colors, everything. We want this to be an interactive thing with those watching on YouTube, Twitch, and LinkedIn. For those of you just joining us, got the last quarter of the episode here. We've been talking to the NFL about how AWS and the NFL has teamed up for My Cause, My Cleats this year. We've come up with this new Gen AI powered tool to let athletes design their own cleats with sometimes the help from the very charities, nonprofits that they are working with to promote on their cleats. So we have this public website you can check out. We've got a link in the chat. We're going to create our own cleats here live on that website. So hopefully my computer does not crash. You see me looking over here. It's because that's where that screen is. Let's start designing. Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. So to be clear here, chat, give me some design ideas. Ari shouted out a unicorn on Mars earlier. I'm not really sure where he got that idea from, but give me some ideas in the chat while we're waiting for people to type stuff out. Ari, I want to make sure I understand. This isn't something that you need coding for or like certain keywords. You just type in whatever words you want, right?
That's 100% right. This is just open text. All the technology, the generative AI tools, they're working under the hood to just make this a really easy, simple experience.
Perfect. All right. Well, I know we had dogs was one idea. You got a husky, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. We'll do husky dog. Husky dogs. We got some. Let me see. Looks like we got Sophie in the chat has been giving us some nice ideas for design stuff. Maybe she can give us something. Christina, do you have an idea?
Well, I was gonna say pizza because that's what Ari said earlier, but then I'm like husky dogs with pizza.
I mean, I think that's a pretty solid
Let's see
combo.
what we get, right?
All right. We got a suggestion here, Las Vegas style cleats, because we're going to Las Vegas next week.
Should we do Raiders then?
All right, we can do Raiders. All right. For colors then, why don't we do black, silver? What is another color, chat or Ari or backstage crew here? What do we think? We need one more. All right, cream colored. I don't know if we've got a cream color.
White.
Maybe white. Yeah.
Orange. Oh, we got orange here.
Orange. Oh, yeah.
Orange. All right. And then what's the visual style? What are we thinking? We got graffiti, anime, watercolor, stencil. Don't know what some of these are. I don't know what gritty is. Maybe we can experiment.
Last time I checked, it was like a touchdown dance, but
Yeah, no, that's what I feel. Really, I'm starting to feel old here, guys. All right, why don't we do anime? Let's do anime. Yep. Ann Mass says anime. Actually, Ann Mass suggested orange. Let's do Crispy Wilson suggested stencil so we can get some more people involved here. So design my cleat. So we input dogs, pizza, Las Vegas, black, silver, and orange. So we're essentially designing Halloween pizza cleats.
Right.
So,
And it doesn't even have to be keywords, right? For folks trying this out on their own, you can even do like complete sentences. If you can't think of a specific noun.
Wait, I love it.
This is actually pretty sweet. Okay, we got this is one of the better ones. I've been playing around with this for like 3 days. This is one of the better ones I've seen. Honestly.
Wait, why do I all of a sudden need these pizza cleats?
Yeah, right? All right, so let's see. So we got scale. Looks like we can make things bigger or smaller here. I'd say that looks about right. Then rotation just moves the design around. Yeah. I think that slice of pizza front and center on the side there.
100%.
And horizontal moves it up and down. There we go. I love that. I want that slice right here. Just
I think it's New
visible
York style pizza.
100. Well, yeah, chat. New York or Chicago style pizza.
Yeah.
Let's comment Giants
New
or
York,
Bears.
obviously.
Obviously.
Come on.
All right. What is all this? So we can do waffle design, full graphic, heel and toe, zigzag. I kind of like the full graphic, so we get the full image of the
Me
pizza
too.
here. All right, let's see. Now some people are saying they're hungry. I like it. All right, let's do details. What is details? Oh, so you can change lace color. What are we thinking for lace color, guys? Do we have any other suggestions in the chat here? We already did black, orange, and silver. About like a teal.
Ooh,
Like
that's
that might
nice.
work. There we go. You can move the shoe around, see both sides of it. All right. And then sole color. I don't know what shimmer is. I'm going to say that's going to be like whitish, maybe. We got somebody saying shimmer. Sophie's saying shimmer. All right. We'll do, I think silvery is kind of shimmer. And then we got stickers here. So you said you wanted Raiders for Las Vegas. Give them a nice shout out. That kills my soul as a Broncos fan. We can do that. And
I mean, maybe I should pick Jags because I'm from Jacksonville. But then again,
I
these
don't
aren't
know.
my Cleats. I don't know.
I know you already said. I think we got to do Niners. Well, let's just make a old school Bay rivalry pair. Yeah.
Yeah,
So Niners for Ari here.
that's funny.
All right, and then looks like you can do different messages too, right?
So this is something that I wanted to point out.
Okay.
I think this is really cool because these are actually different phrases that we also give players to use. So you'll see these like as stencils on the field throughout the season. You'll see them on end zone wraps, banners around stadiums. So I just think it's cool because like fans are truly getting the experience of what players and teams work with every year.
Love that. So what are we thinking? Oh, someone's at my door, so you're gonna hear my dog for
Wait,
a second.
Nick, aren't you connected to the military?
What was that?
Nick, don't you have a military tie? Maybe salute to service?
Yeah, sleep service would be perfect.
Can't
I'm
hear
gonna
me.
go close my door real quick. Give me 1 second here.
See, and he thought my dogs would be the problem.
Gosh dang it! I was really hoping
Yeah.
Ari's dog would.
Guys,
make
I
mine
didn't
look
bring
better.
dogs in here.
Yeah, no, that was my bad. All right.
This is live, folks.
Right. Yeah, that's how you know. Okay. We got San Fran. Let's do the toe here. And we can do salute to service, like you were saying. Looks like
These are some like very dynamic cleats.
yeah, I'm really kind of liking these. I think we need to find somebody. Maybe you can get your connections in the Jags to wear them, Christina. I think this is pretty sweet here.
Right? Are all 32.
Yeah.
All
I
32.
love
Yeah.
every team.
Okay, we'll do salute to service there. All right. So let's say we're done with the design here. So then we just say finalize. And how do you submit these, Ari?
Yeah. So when you go to finalize, you should basically have like two options. You can save it to your locker, right? So if you want to save your design and then make tweaks to it before you finalize it, at the bottom of the experience, there will basically be like just like a shoe closet,
Okay.
right, with all your prior designs. But then once you're done, you go to the share Cleat, and it will, if you're on your phone, it'll automatically pull up like the sharing trays for whatever platform you want to share it on. And then, for if you want to tag your teams, that's totally cool. If you want a chance to win the game worn cleats from the players, it's hashtag Max Crosby MCMC.
Okay.
For My Cause My Cleats, or hashtag Josh Allen MCMC, or hashtag DK Metcalf MCMC.
All right. So
It's also something cool that maybe fans can do. You guys, I wonder if like if there's players that you love and you start to see some of their stories of the charities that they support, you can show support for those charities or those causes overall. And you can go in here and make your own version of that cause and tag the player. Tag the NFL, tag AWS, because I'm going to be tracking all of these too, just to see. And then, of course, sharing with players and teams. And I think players will feel really supported in their causes if the fans are also supporting.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And, I just want to call out too, Ari, just so fans know, because I know we've got like 5 minutes to wrap up here.
Yeah.
How long is this competition going? Like, how long do they have to submit their entries? And what exactly do they win again? You mentioned it earlier, but just.
So the sweeps is going to go until December 13th.
Okay.
And then, the NFL will be moving on to some other really important causes as well.
Okay.
What they'll win, they'll basically be entered a chance to win the game-worn cleats from the 3 players that we're working with.
All right. Perfect. So guys, go ahead and submit your designs to that website. Again, we dropped a link in the chat here. We'll drop it again. We've got some really fun ideas coming in. We had one from Reha on LinkedIn, very descriptive, designing a pair of athletic cleats inspired by the vibrant essence of Hawaii. So, definitely go and do that design. That one sounds really cool. We have somebody saying a winter edition. I'm from Colorado, so I love the ski vibes there. We've got someone saying smiley faces, candy striped laces. Got a lot of ideas coming in. That's what I like to see. So guys, go check out the website, submit your designs, try to win that competition, get some cool memorabilia. And Christina, before we sign off here, what's been the reception so far from the league or from fans or players in designing these cleats? What do you think the impact's going to be?
Yeah, if you couldn't tell by my personal excitement around this, the fans, the players, everyone's been really excited. Again, we launched it yesterday, My Cause, My Cleats. And so I'm just excited. Even like seeing the Hawaii, I'm like, you know what? I think I need a trip to Hawaii just so I can go have some inspiration for creating my cleats. Or the Arctic ones, we have the new Salute the Service line that would match those perfectly. So I'm just excited. Everybody, I just think it's going to get bigger and better every year as we work with AWS. So I just thank you both, truly, for this opportunity for fans and players. And I'm excited to see what comes of it. I was also lastly going to say that on NFL.com/mycausemycleats, we have this integrated on the homepage as well. And then there's a ton of other things you can do around the initiative to support the players and their charities. So be sure to check it out. And we have a list of all 1,000+ players and coaches and staff and their organizations they're supporting on there too. So you guys can see your favorite players.
Awesome. And, speaking of fan feedback, I am getting yelled at back here by our producers. As I've forgotten to mention, we also love getting fan feedback. And we've got a nifty little survey here. So guys, if you like the show, go ahead, submit your cleat ideas, and then tell us how you like the show too. It takes, we say 2 minutes, probably takes 30 seconds if you're going real slow. But not only will you get to try out the Cleat tool, you'll also get $19 in AWS credits if you're one of the first 10 respondents to try out some of the services that power this tool. And if you want to learn more about Gen AI, maybe you want to play around with some of the stuff Ari mentioned earlier, that's super cool. And we value your feedback. This is our season finale for AWS OnAir Sports. So let us know, what leagues do you want to see on? Do you want to see Christina on again? Probably yes. Do you want to see Ari? Probably no. Let us know, who you guys want to see on. We've got partnerships from Ferrari to F1 to who else have we had on this year? The NHL, PGA. We've got a lot of cool stuff. PGA Tour, yep. NFL. So let us know who you want to see. Let us know what use cases you want to see. Let us know if you want Ari's dogs to appear in more episodes. And guys, we're wrapping up here. I want to make sure we give Ari and Christina the final sign off. Anything you guys are looking forward to, anything, maybe you can give a preview of our fans here. That's the final takeaway you guys want our viewers to have today. Let's start with Ari.
Yeah, just go check out the tool. Using this Gen AI tech, would love to see what all the cool designs you can come up with yourselves, and enjoy watching the games this weekend.
Yes, and football is family. So thank you guys for tuning in. Truly, all of us are in the NFL family. So go create the cleats and please, please, please share them so I can see them.
All right, guys, go check out the website. Enter for your chance to win those game-worn cleats. Thanks for joining us today. Let us know if you've got any questions in the chat. We'll keep monitoring that for a bit. And Debbie, let's hit the outro. We'll see you guys later.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks.
Bye, Ari.